Hey y'all, it's Kayla Natural B, your favorite traveling dancer. Welcome back to my channel. I am full. This glow that I have, this glow that you feel, which I hope you feel the warmth from it, comes from travel. I believe that travel is medicine, at least for me. Being able to feel the warmth, the rays of the sun on my skin, in my hair, being able to breathe different air, being able to immerse myself in diverse cultures, dine at different places, try new things, hear different dialects and accents, and go down different paths and roads that may be rocky, some smooth, experience the texture of the earth and neighborhoods, and get a glimpse of past history and recognize that I too am a part of history in the making. All of that is the fulfilling journey that comes with travel. So you are in the right place if you love travel, because I'm going to talk today about a topic that many have probably been curious about. How do you travel so much? That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, number two, how did I travel as much as I did? Or maybe that's a why. During the pandemic. So before I begin, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge all of those who are no longer with us due to the pandemic, due to the coronavirus, due to the vicious cycle of just chaos, destruction, and death that took a toll on families, that took a toll on us all, due to the misinformation, due to the lack of support or staff or money or whatever the case may be. This has been a very uneasy time for many, and it's not always that the swift and the wise make it. We all have been hit, so I just want to take a moment to acknowledge them and acknowledge the families that are still recovering from loss as a result of that. Ashe. I am grateful to be alive. There are challenges, there are many, yet I am grateful to be here with you to talk about travel. So let's get right into it. Number one, how am I able to travel so much? Well, in my former life, being a professional dancer, I knew that touring was one of the things that I wanted to do. My heart was set on touching different audiences, being inspired by the different countries and cultures that I would touch and reach. It's just always been in part of my wish list, if you have it. So it's like my aunt says to me, if you conceive it in your heart, then it must exist somewhere out there in the universe. So do what you need to do. If that is vision boarding, if that is journaling, if that is speaking it aloud and writing affirmations, if that is sharing your dreams with a loved one, best friend, or community, if that is joining a travel community or travel club, then do it. Support is number one. Having support. So supporting your dreams, your goals, with action is what's going to get you closer and closer to jet setting. And it starts with an idea, and that's really it. Everything else will work itself out, I have found. I'd also say that when it comes to traveling, that sacrifice is the next thing. So if I know there is a place that I would want to go, I'll give you an example. My very first trip to Hawaii, I racked up, I stacked up, I went nowhere for maybe about 3 or 4 months, no outings, no movies, no extra expenditures. I just saved so that I knew that I could have exactly the amount that I needed to go for, and have money for emergencies. It's very important in your saving and planning and budgeting for travel. So sacrifice, if you know you want to travel, then you can't have it both ways. I mean, if you can, and you gotta like that, hey, live your life and go for it. But I find that I appreciate life more when I really do take my time to plan and keep keep my heart set on that travel experience because I am filled up and it's just a dream come true. The next thing I would say when it comes to traveling and staying in my travel lane and making it happen is effective and efficient planning. There is nothing better than having a budget prior to traveling. That helps me to stick with the money that I spend and the things that I do. And if I know I want to be a little spontaneous, be adventurous, then I always save a little extra for that. Always expect the unexpected. The next thing I would say is help. Ask for help, ask for advice. If that means joining or subscribing to, which you should go ahead and do, my channel for travel tips, advice, and tools, then do that. If that means going to, as I mentioned earlier, maybe a travel club or something of the sort online, I mean, the resources are right here. You can't miss them. It's so easy to plug in. So plug in and do that. You will learn so much and it will give you the confidence that you need to travel and to travel often. One thing I can say when it comes to jet setting is knowing your regions. If you're going into Europe, don't just plan to go to one country. Why not go to 3? It's cheap to hop on a train or even hop on a plane to the next country and there you are. Or if you want to do a cruise, that's a great way to jet set to a couple of countries and not have to go back to back to back, but to really stick with it, to stay with it, and experience without limitations, right? You can do the same thing with the Caribbean. You can island hop. It's pretty cost effective to travel from within the Caribbean diaspora, for example, or same thing with Asia. If you're over there in Thailand and you want to hop over to Cambodia or Malaysia, then you can do that. So just keep that in mind. Yeah? So those are probably the best top tips that I can give you for jet setting fearlessly. And that's how I travel so much. So let's talk about the pandemic. And I want to say this, I want to preface it before getting into all the fun and the good and the exciting and the wonderful things, is that I very mindfully thought about my decisions to travel before I did. I knew that traveling during this time would be a risk, but I did not allow fear to rule me, to control my decisions, or to talk me out of a trip that I had planned. The worst comes to worst, I would listen to my intuition. If something told me no, I would say no. Or if the CDC decided they wanted to change mandates or regulations, what am I to do? Comply. Or if there's an outbreak or something just really horrific, then it's a no-brainer. I'm not going. So I'll give you an example. Flights, hotels, everything went way down during the start of the pandemic because people were trying to get out of where they were, and that was prime time for people to book vacations. Now, it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, and I almost booked a trip to New Orleans to take advantage of a $50 flight from Los Angeles. So I didn't, and I realized that it was not for me to take advantage of as a traveler, but for me to be aware that these are trying times. And so I did not travel right away. In fact, if the pandemic started in winter, early spring, it wasn't until December that I traveled for the first time, went to Jamaica and took some very brave women with me. And we were away from the masses. We were away from crowds. It was very careful. It was everything that I could have asked for. So if you want to know more about it, be sure to follow me on Insta at BEEBODI, the Beebody Marketplace. I do have a channel for Beebody as well. You should check that out. And I am due to share some footage from Jamaica there too. I want to get the clear from the ladies because we had such an amazing time. And check that out. Then I traveled again to US Virgin Islands, and it was the same thing. Very cautious, mindful, respectful. We kept our distance. There were times where we wore masks, but guess what? The beaches were open, the restaurants were open. It was a really good opportunity to get some R&R, some true relaxation and rest and sun. So typically when you go for travel, if you're going on vacation, if you're going with groups, if you're going as a vacation, it's very activity heavy, it's very activity filled. But I felt like this pandemic was an opportunity for me to experience travel with mindfulness, going in and coming out. And I truly felt a sense of calm and a sense of peace over the waters, over the trees, over every part of the countries that I had a chance to visit because of shutdowns and because of the retraction of human interaction and presence, which is needed. So the land was healing, and I used that opportunity to heal myself vibrationally as well. I knew that I needed to get out of a cave, get out of being indoors, and so that's what I did. So I'm not going to give away too many details because you can find that in my next book, Overcoming Fear, Putting God First. How did I travel during the pandemic? To over 3 countries, by the way. And I am happy I did. I'm happy I did because what I have learned about living in a capitalist society is that people will stop at nothing. If there's an agenda, if there's money involved, if there's businesses, growth, companies involved, there's going to be money, there's going to be opportunity. People will stop at nothing to do what they want to do. And so for the meek, for the humble, for the patient, for the grounded, we too need to have our Earth's song and not be ruled or controlled or dominated by systems that give us information and send us propaganda and tell us all of this. Now, that doesn't mean you go rush through the gates of an airport and travel at your whim. It just simply means that if you feel in your heart that it's okay to do something, it could be anything, it doesn't have to be travel, then consult with yourself, consult with spirit, consult with your higher being, consult with your intuition. Take your time to think it through, plan it through, and go for it. Why not? So, like I said, you're in the right place to be. In fact, check out my recent trip to Trinidad and Tobago, a country that was on lockdown for several months. No one can go out, no one could come in, and I had a chance to travel there upon their reopening, which is such a blessing, being able to connect with loved ones and friends and community. So check out my blog post on KaylaHarley.com, which tells the story of my first Sunday as part of First Sundays of the Cody Kingdom Community, Key of David Church. They opened their miracle space in Trinidad and Tobago. That first Sunday, I had the opportunity to attend, to fellowship, to worship as part of First. So I'm counting it a blessing, and I want you to go check out the article so that you can tune into the amazing things that they're doing. Next post, I'll be talking about how to maintain travel lifestyle, how to keep it organic, how to keep it within means financially, but also spiritually, staying connected to who you really and truly are and not allowing anything to break your flow. It is possible. It is absolutely possible. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. And I hope that you took away something, that you'll connect with me on all platforms, that you'll subscribe, and that you'll ring the bell for notifications so that you can never miss an episode of me chatting about my travels and adventures. Stay well, be safe, and bon voyage!